My parents turned their divorce into a reality show, and I was the unwilling star. By 16, I'd been dragged through their petty wars, each trying to outshine the other with new partners, new homes, and new lives while I was just collateral damage. It started 3 years ago, when I was 13, sitting in the back of a courtroom that smelled like polished wood and broken promises. Mom, in her crisp navy suit, leaned forward, her voice sharp as a blade, accusing Dad of neglecting me. Dad, with his slicked back hair and smug grin, countered that Mom was too busy chasing promotions to care about my existence. I sat there, invisible, my sneakers scuffing the floor, wondering when they'd notice I wasn't a prop in their drama. The judge, a tired woman with gray streaks in her hair, sighed heavily, her gavel falling like a guillotine on their marriage. Custody split down the middle, like I was a pizza they could slice up. The divorce wasn't the end, it was the starting gun. Mom moved us into a sleek condo downtown, all glass and chrome, like she was auditioning for a magazine spread. "This is our fresh start. Emma," she said, her smile tight, her eyes already on her phone, texting her new boyfriend. Greg. Greg was a lawyer, 10 years younger, with a laugh that echoed like a sitcom laugh track. He'd pat my head like I was a puppy and say, "You're gonna love our new life I didn't." The condo felt like a showroom, not a home. And Mom's obsession with winning the divorce meant she was always planning the next big move to one-up Dad. Dad, meanwhile, relocated to a sprawling suburban house with a pool, the kind of place that screamed, "I'm doing better than you." He married Vanessa, a yoga instructor with a permanent tan and a voice so soft it made my skin crawl. "Emma, honey, this is your new family," he'd say, gesturing to Vanessa and her two perfect kids, who looked like they'd stepped out of a cereal commercial. I was the odd one out, my dark hair and sarcastic smirk clashing with their sun-kissed glow. Dad's game plan was clear, prove he was the better parent by building a picture-perfect life, with me as the awkward accessory. They didn't fight over me because they loved me. They fought because losing me meant losing points in their twisted game. Every custody swap was a stage. Mom would pull up in her shiny SUV, blasting classical music to seem cultured, and hand me a new phone or designer backpack, her eyes daring Dad to top it. Dad would counter with concert tickets or a weekend trip to some resort, his grin saying, "Checkmate." I'd sit in the back seat, headphones on, pretending I didn't notice their one-upping. But I did. Every gift, every gesture, was a weapon, and I was the battlefield. By 15, I'd learned to play along. I'd smile for Mom's Instagram posts, captioned, "Rashu, your best mom ever," and let Dad parade me at Vanessa's yoga retreats, where I'd fake enthusiasm for Downward Dog. But inside, I was screaming. I started keeping a journal, scribbling down every time they used me to score points. Mom bought me AirPods to match her vibe. Dad got me a smartwatch to keep up with his family. The pages filled up fast, each entry a reminder that I was a pawn in their ego's chess match. Then came the bombshell. It was a humid Saturday in June, and I was at Mom's, sprawled on the couch, scrolling through my phone. She burst in, her face glowing like she'd won the lottery. "Emma, pack a bag. We're going to Paris." I blinked, sure I'd misheard. "Paris," I repeated, my voice flat. She nodded, practically vibrating. "Greg proposed, and we're celebrating with a family trip." Her excitement was a knife twist. Family. Greg wasn't my family. I was just the kid she dragged along to prove her life was better than Dad's. Before I could process it, Dad called. "Emma, get ready for a surprise." His voice was smug, like he was holding a winning card. "Vanessa and I are taking you to Hawaii next week. New family, new adventures." I nearly dropped the phone. Hawaii, Paris. They weren't doing this for me. They were racing to outdo each other, and I was the prize they dangle in their social media showdowns. I pictured the post, Mom in Paris with me forced into a beret, Dad in Hawaii with me faking a smile by a volcano. My stomach churned. I snapped, "No," I shouted into the phone, my voice shaking. I'm not going anywhere. Dad went silent, then tried his soothing tone. Emma, this is a once-in-a-lifetime. I hung up. Mom, hearing the commotion, rushed over, her face a mix of concern and irritation. What's wrong with you? She demanded. I stood, fists clenched, and let it all out. You're both using me. I'm not a trophy for your stupid divorce war. Her mouth opened, then closed, her eyes wide with shock. For once, she had no comeback. That night, I locked myself in my room and wrote in my journal until my hand cramped. I wasn't just angry, I was done. Done being their prop. Done pretending their new lives were about me. I started planning. If they wanted to play games, I'd change the rules. I researched emancipation laws, my heart pounding at the idea of breaking free. But I was only 16, too young to go it alone. So, I decided to confront them, together, and force them to see me, not as a tool, but as their daughter. The next weekend, I insisted on a meeting at a neutral coffee shop. They showed up, Mom with Greg, Dad with Vanessa, both eyeing each other like rival generals. I took a deep breath and laid it all out. You're not parenting me, you're competing. I'm not a prize, I'm your kid, and I'm tired of being used. I slid my journal across the table, opened to a page listing their one-upping stunts. Mom's face paled as she read. Dad's jaw tightened. Vanessa looked away, uncomfortable. Greg shifted awkwardly. For the first time, they didn't argue. They didn't deflect. Mom's eyes filled with tears and she whispered, I didn't realize. Dad rubbed his face, his usual swagger gone. We messed up. Aim, he said, his voice rough. They promised to do better, to stop the games, to actually listen. I wasn't sure I believed them, but it was a start. The surprises, Paris, Hawaii were canceled. Instead, we started small. A dinner, just the three of us. No new spouses, no agendas. It was awkward, but it was real. They asked about my life, my friends, my dreams, not just my grades or how I'd look in their photos. I didn't forgive them overnight, but I felt something shift, like a crack in the wall between us. Months later, things aren't perfect. Mom still slips into her competitive streak, and Dad's ego flares up sometimes. But they're trying. I'm learning to speak up, to set boundaries, to remind them I'm not a pawn. I'm Emma, their daughter, and I'm done letting their divorce define me. What do you think? Were my parents wrong to turn their divorce into a competition? Or were they just caught up in their own pain? Should I forgive them or hold them accountable? Share your thoughts. Let's talk about family, fairness, and finding your voice.